The restaurant glowed with holiday warmth on Christmas Eve, strings of lights draped along the windows and a decorated tree standing in the corner. Most tables were filled with couples and families, their laughter and conversation creating the comforting hum of celebration. But at a table near the window, 29-year-old Sophia Blake sat alone, staring at the menu she wasn't really reading. Her emerald green dress had been carefully chosen, elegant but not overdone, festive but not desperate. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a sleek ponytail, and she'd spent nearly an hour on her makeup, all for a blind date that had lasted exactly 12 minutes. 12 minutes for the Mona, a friend of a friend who'd seemed charming over text, to arrive, take one look at her, make awkward small talk, check his phone 3 times, and then announce he'd just remembered a family emergency he had to attend to. Sophia had smiled politely and told him she hoped everything was okay. She'd maintained her composure until he left. But now, sitting alone at a table set for 2 on Christmas Eve in a restaurant full of happy couples, the humiliation was settling in like a weight on her chest. She should leave, pay for the wine she'd already ordered, walk out with whatever dignity she had left, go home to her empty apartment and pretend this night had never happened. But something kept her in her seat. Maybe it was pride, refusing to let some shallow man ruin her Christmas Eve. Maybe it was stubbornness. Or maybe it was just that she'd been looking forward to a nice dinner, and she was tired of denying herself things just because she was alone. "Excuse me?" Sophia looked up to find a little girl standing beside her table. She was maybe 4 or 5 years old, with blonde curls adorned with a bright red bow that matched her red and white dress. Her eyes were bright with curiosity and something else, a kind of knowing wisdom that seemed too old for such a young face. "Hello," Sophia said, managing a smile. "Are you lost, sweetheart?" "No," the girl said matter-of-factly. "I'm with my daddy." "But I saw you sitting here all by yourself, and you looked sad." "Are you sad?" Sophia felt tears prick her eyes at the child's directness. I'm okay, thank you for asking." "You don't look okay," the girl said with the brutal honesty of childhood. "You look like you're about to cry." "My daddy says it's not good to be alone on Christmas. He says that's when people need company the most." Before Sophia could respond, a man appeared, probably in his early 30s, with dark hair and kind eyes, wearing a light blue dress shirt and dark pants. He placed a gentle hand on the little girl's shoulder. "Sweetheart, you can't just walk up to strangers," he said softly, then looked at Sophia with an apologetic smile. "I'm so sorry. My daughter has a very strong sense of when someone needs cheering up." "I'm Michael." "Michael Hayes." "Sophia," she managed, trying to compose herself. "It's okay, really. She's very sweet." Emma tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy, she's all alone. Can we sit with her, please? You always say we should be kind to people, especially on Christmas." Michael looked embarrassed but also concerned as he took in Sophia's expression of the carefully controlled face that couldn't quite hide the hurt beneath. I don't think, please." Emma looked up at her father with pleading eyes. "We have a big table and there's lots of room." And she looked so sad. Sophia found herself speaking before she'd fully thought it through. "You know what, I'd actually really like that. If you don't mind, of course, I could use some company." Michael studied her face for a moment, and whatever he saw there made him nod. "We'd be honored." Go get our coats and I'll ask them to move our table over here." 10 minutes later, they were seated together, Emma between Sophia and Michael, chattering happily about Christmas and Santa and the cookies she'd left out at home. "I'm sorry about this," Michael said quietly while Emma was distracted by the bread basket. "If it's too awkward, we can't." "It's not awkward," Sophia interrupted. "It's actually really kind. I was supposed to be here on a date, but he took one look at me and suddenly remembered he had somewhere else to be. So I was sitting here trying to decide whether to leave or stay, and then Emma appeared like some kind of tiny Christmas angel." Michael's expression darkened. "He just left." "What kind of person does that?" "The kind who was hoping I'd look different than I do, I guess." Sophia tried to keep her voice light, but the hurt leaked through anyway. "Then he's an idiot," Michael said simply. "You look beautiful. That dress is stunning. And more importantly, anyone who'd judge you in 12 minutes doesn't deserve 12 seconds of your time." Sophia felt tears threaten again, but for a different reason this time. "Thank you." "That's kind of you to say." "It's not kind," It's true. Michael smiled. Besides, Emma's radar is never wrong. If she thought you needed company, you probably did. She has a gift for seeing people. Over dinner, the story emerged. Michael's wife Emma's mother had died 2 years ago from a sudden brain aneurysm. She'd been healthy, vibrant, and then one day she simply collapsed and never woke up. Michael had been raising Emma alone ever since, pouring all his love and energy into making sure his daughter felt secure despite the enormous loss. It's been hard, Michael admitted while Emma colored on the kids' menu the waiter had brought, especially holidays. Ashley loved Christmas. She'd decorate in November, play carols all season, make these elaborate cookies. I try to keep up the traditions for Emma, but there's always this absence, this shadow of someone who should be here. Sophia reached across the table and squeezed his hand. I'm sorry. That must be incredibly difficult. What about you? Michael asked. If you don't mind me asking, why blind date on Christmas Eve? No family nearby. Sophia shook her head. My parents retired to Florida last year. My brother's in Seattle with his family. I moved here for work 3 years ago and I've been so focused on my career that I didn't really build much of a social life. My friend kept insisting I needed to date, so she set up tonight. I should have known better than to get my hopes up. Your hopes weren't the problem, Michael said gently. His character was. Look, I know we just met, but can I tell you something? Emma and I have been coming to this restaurant for special occasions since Ashley died. It was her favorite place. We come here on her birthday, on their anniversary, on Christmas Eve. And every single time, Emma talks to strangers. She asks questions, makes friends, sees people who are hurting or lonely. It used to embarrass me, but I've learned she's usually right. People need connection, especially during the holidays. So you sitting here with us? This isn't charity or pity. It's just people being kind to each other when they need it. Emma looked up from her coloring. Are you happier now, Sophia? Sophia realized with surprise that she was. Yes, sweetheart, I am. Thank you for inviting me to sit with you. See, Daddy, I told you she just needed friends. Emma went back to her coloring with the satisfied air of someone who'd just solved a major problem. As the evening continued, Sophia found herself genuinely enjoying the company. Emma was delightfully unfiltered, asking Sophia about everything from her favorite color to whether she believed in Santa to if she'd ever had a pet unicorn. Michael was easy to talk to, sharing stories about single fatherhood with a self-deprecating humor that made Sophia laugh. When dessert arrived, a shared chocolate cake that Emma insisted they all eat together, Sophia realized she couldn't remember the last time she'd felt this comfortable. This scene, not the superficial seeing of a blind date assessing her appearance, but really seen her loneliness, her kindness, her capacity for joy even in disappointment. Sophia? Emma asked as she licked chocolate frosting off her fork. Do you have somewhere to go for Christmas, or are you going to be alone, Ma? Michael chided gently. That's a little personal. It's okay, Sophia said. I was planning to spend it alone. Yes, watch some movies. Maybe call my parents. It's not a big deal. But it's Christmas. Emma looked genuinely distressed. Nobody should be alone on Christmas. Daddy, she should come to our house tomorrow. We have lots of food and presents and games, right? Michael looked uncertain. Ma, I don't think we should impose. You wouldn't be imposing, Sophia interrupted, surprising herself. I'd really like that. If you're sure it's okay. Michael met her eyes, and something passed between Emma, a recognition of shared loneliness, of unexpected connection, of the courage it takes to say yes when you've gotten used to being alone. We'd love to have you, he said. Really? Come around noon? Emma will probably have already opened all her presents by then, but we can do a proper Christmas dinner. Nothing fancy, just company. That night, as Sophia drove home, she thought about how strangely the evening had turned out. She'd arrived expecting a romantic connection and had been rejected. But she was leaving with something potentially more valuably, a connection built on kindness, honesty, and the simple human need to not be alone. Christmas Day at Michael's house was warm and chaotic in the best way. Emma dragged Sophia from room to room, showing her every present, every decoration, every detail of their home. Photos of Ashley were everywhere, a note hidden away but integrated naturally into their lives, a reminder of someone loved rather than an absence to be mourned. Michael cooked dinner while Sophia and Emma played board games, and when they sat down to eat, Emma insisted Sophia sit next to her. "You're like our Christmas present," Emma announced, causing both adults to laugh. "Daddy said Christmas is about family and love and being together, so we made a new family today." "Ma, that's not exactly," Michael started. "But it's true," Emma insisted. "Families don't have to be just people who live together." "Mrs. Henderson next door says family is who you choose, and I choose Sophia to be in our family." Sophia felt tears streaming down her face, happy tears this time. "I'd be honored to be in your family, Ma." Over the following months, what had started as a chance encounter blossomed into genuine friendship. Sophia came over for dinners, helped Emma with art projects, attended her kindergarten performances. Michael and Sophia talked for hours about loss and resilience, about building lives from broken pieces, about learning to be open to joy again after disappointment. The romantic element developed slowly, naturally, like a plant growing towards sunlight. A hand held while watching Emma play at the park, a kiss shared while putting away dishes after dinner. The gradual realization that what had started as companionship had deepened into something more. 6 months after that Christmas Eve, Michael asked Sophia to officially move in. "Emma and I talked about it," he said, "and we both agree this house feels more like home when you're in it." "Are you sure?" Sophia asked. "That's a big step." Ma, who'd been eavesdropping from the hallway, ran in and hugged Sophia's legs. "Please say yes. You make Addie smile like Mommy used to, and you read me bedtime stories, and you're the best almost mommy ever." Sophia looked at Michael, at Emma, at this family that had adopted her when she'd needed it most. "Yes, absolutely yes." The wedding was small and beautiful, held in the same restaurant where they'd met. Emma served as flower girl, wearing a red and white dress that matched the one from that Christmas Eve 2 years ago. Her speech at the reception made everyone cry. "I saw Sophia first," Emma said proudly. "I knew she needed a family and we needed her. Daddy says Mommy would have liked Sophia a lot, and I think so too, because Sophia sees people like Mommy due to their hearts, not just their faces." And she saw that Daddy was lonely even though he pretended he wasn't. "And I was sad even though I tried to be brave. So she fixed us, like magic. Well, like love magic, which is the best kind." Later, as they danced their first dance as a married couple, Sophia whispered to Michael, "Do you ever think about that night, how different things could have been?" "All the time," Michael admitted. "If that guy hadn't stood you up, if Emma hadn't walked over to your table, if you'd said number." "So many small choices that led to this." "I'm glad he stood me up," Sophia said. "Is that weird?" "I'm grateful for that humiliation, because it led me to you and Emma." "It's not weird. It's life teaching us that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best things. That rejection opens us to the right connection. That being seen truly matters more than being seen as beautiful." "Though you do think I'm beautiful, right?" Sophia teased. "Devastatingly so. But more importantly, you're kind. You're patient with Emma. You're strong and funny, and you talk to me like I'm still a whole person, not just a widowed dad. You see all of you as me, Ma, even Ashley's memory, and you don't run from the complexity. You embrace it." Years later, when people asked how they met, Sophia and Michael always told the truth, about the blind date that ended in rejection, about a little girl with wisdom beyond her years who saw someone who needed kindness, about a father who'd taught his daughter to look past surfaces to hearts. "Emma saved me that night," Sophia would say. "She saw me when I felt invisible. She invited me in when I'd been shut out. She reminded me that families aren't just born, they're built by people who choose each other." Ma, now a teenager but still wise beyond her years, would add, "My mommy taught me to see people's hearts, and when I looked at Sophia that Christmas Eve, I saw someone with a really big heart who just needed someone to notice. So I noticed, and then we all got to keep each other." The restaurant where they met became a tradition. Every Christmas Eve, they returned to the same table. Sometimes it was just the three of them. Eventually, it was 5, after Sophia and Michael had 2 more children. But they always requested the table by the window, the one where a little girl in a red bow had walked up to a sad woman in a green dress and asked the simplest, most profound question. "Can we join you?" And in saying yes, Sophia had joined more than a dinner table. She'd joined a family, a life. a future she never could have imagined when she'd been sitting alone, humiliated and hurt, trying to decide whether to stay or go. Always stay, Sophia would tell people who asked for advice. When you're hurting and alone and tempted to hide, you stay. Sit in the discomfort. Remain open, because you never know when little girl with the red bow is going to walk up and change your entire life. That was the gift Emil had given her that Christmas Eve, not pity or charity, but recognition. The simple acknowledgement that Sophia was a person who mattered, whose sadness was worth addressing, whose company was worth seeking. In a world that had judged her on her appearance and found her lacking, Emil had judged her on her heart and found her perfect. And in the end, that was all anyone really needed, to be seen, truly seen, and welcomed just as they were. Especially on Christmas, especially when they felt most alone. Sometimes, Sophia had learned, the best gifts come wrapped in unexpected packages, in the form of a 5-year-old girl with a red bow and the courage to talk to strangers, and a widowed father who'd taught his daughter that kindness was the most important thing you could offer another person. Sophia had gone to that restaurant expecting romance and had found something better, a family built on compassion, understanding, and the simple act of pulling up a chair for someone who needed a place to belong. That, she thought every Christmas Eve as they returned to their special table, was the real meaning of the holiday. Not perfection or romance or picture-perfect moments, just people, imperfect and hurting and hopeful, choosing to see each other, to sit together, to share their lives, one meal, one moment, one act of kindness at a time.